So here is the katana that we're working on. In the last episode of the katana, we indeed heat treated it without a hamon, and we just went for a basic heat treat so that we can get the Damascus pattern looking consistent in the etch the whole way through. And on today's episode, we're going to continue grinding this, the largest sword that I've ever made. So I hope that you enjoy. It's brilliant to bring you along for the day.
Holy moly! This is the most difficult thing that I have ever ground. It is so absurdly long. It is so difficult to keep things straight. I had a warp in there. I ground that out. I ground out the warp by getting just a slight distal taper in there, and I was grinding that out like that. And now it's just a case of slowly working my way up. I'm constantly naturally cooling this down so we don't overheat the temper, and looking down the edge of the blade to see where my highs and lows are so that we start working down this edge. And it is so difficult trying to control this piece, trying to get an even grind the whole way down. This is such a challenge, and I think in recent time I've probably not articulated quite how new I am to blade making. I'm very new to blade making. It was, a year ago that I made my first ever knife, and you know, because I'm making YouTube videos, I'm not necessarily making a huge amount of knives, and so I've not had a massive opportunity to practice. This is what, my third or fourth ever sword, so yeah, I'm new to all of this. I am learning the whole way through. I'm experimenting, I'm trying to get better, but holy moly, this is so difficult. I don't know what it is I'm doing, but I'm trying my hardest to try and make sure that we can get something beautiful out of this piece of steel here. So I'm going to keep plodding away, and I'll check back in a sec. This is by far the most difficult project I have ever worked on. I have never ground something so difficult.
Ugly duckly, so where are we with the blade? Let me run you through it. We have an 120 grit finish on most of it. I changed the angle as I went to the 120 grit to really make sure that we worked past the 60 grit. And of course, I then used the contact wheel to make this flat spot there. Again, it really just helped me line it up on the platen. I was struggling, and every so often I'd have the angle just wrong, and I'd create a flat spot that I'd then have to grind back in the bevel. But it's looking nice and neat and consistent. Establishing straightness in the blade has been a continuous issue the whole way through. In the quench, it got a slight warp that was really evident in the spine, but with the distal taper that I made, I was able to grind most of that warp out of there. But another thing that happened in the quench was a slight wrinkling of the edge, and this is evident. You can see where it hasn't quite been ground out right there. You see, this is original material that hasn't been touched in the grinding processes today at all, and that's because it bowed out away from this side of the edge. It was proud on this side, but of course, since we have a pretty consistent straightness across the whole of this, it's still below the level of the rest of the blade. And I found this a really good indicator for where my low spots are, and obviously as a result, where my high spots are on the opposite side. But another low spot right there, and another low spot right there. Aside from that, pretty good the whole way down. And regarding the tang, what's going on with the tang? Well, I'm basically just trying to get a distal taper in the reverse direction here on the tang so that when we make our little whatchamajoodah, the little copper thing that goes up there, there, we can slide it up and have this be the thickest point. The tang's a tough one. The tang is something that I really, here I can understand what's going to happen. I need to have a taper this way, I need to have a flat spot, I can just about make it work here. On the tang, I'm struggling with how it's going to go, and the basic principle that I'm working with is I need this to be the thickest part of the tang, this to be the thinnest part of the tang, this to be thickest, this to be thinnest, and, it does have a slight curve to it. Aside from that, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle getting it just how it needs to be for that copper thing to work. Overall, how am I feeling? Well, okay, grinding this, massive amount of work, really difficult, keeping concentration, really struggling with that. I've been going for kind of 45-minute bouts, and then kind of, taking about a 10-minute break or so, which is quite embarrassing to admit, but absolutely need it to make sure I can keep my bevels right. As soon as I got my bevels set, it was a lot easier to work to it and then keep it consistent. I still do have the low spots, and I'm still going to be trying to decide what it is that I do with that. We're at 120 grit. For now, we're going to go to 240 grit. We're going to keep working on the blade, keep cleaning it up, making it pretty, and then eventually, of course, it's going to be time to go onto the hand sanding. But let's just take a moment to... This feels so good!
Here we go again!
Like this.
We got it up to Trizact. What do you think, Jamie? Do we go straight to the hand sanding, or do we have a look at what the Damascus looks like?
Test, etch, time.
Let's do it! Okay, I've got to take this stuff off though first, because I've been in this for so long. Holy moly.
How messy is the grinding room looking?
Well, it's alright. It's not that bad. What do you think?
What the hell's been going on in here?
Give it a quick degrease. This thing feels so incredible right now. Like, it feels like it should be. It's light and whippy. Holy moly. Look at the amount of bend it has. It's so flexible. Right, let's do it. Here we go. Oh, run out of acid there. Okay, don't look. Close your eyes. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. Okay, now I gotta flip it over without looking. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Hey, you look!
I didn't look! Whoa! Oh my goodness! What? That is so cool! Holy moly! No. That is out of this world. I'm just shocked. It is so much better than I could have ever possibly thought it went. It just took forever. And not even as much time as I thought. I thought it would take days of grinding. And I just ground this, my largest ever sword. This is unbelievable. I feel great.
Yeah, well then, don't jump the gun. You still have to hand sand the whole thing.
Thanks for letting me know, Jamie. Let's start hand sanding. Whoopsie. I'm actually not going to do some hand sanding just yet. We're going to use this file guide, and we are going to file a nice, neat shoulder for the transition between the tang and the blade, and I never realized what that's called. And so, real fast, I ran into the grinding room with the file guide. We ground the tang down here a little further on the backside, and we got our radius in there using a round file against the file guide in the vise. And now, there is a workshop chore to do. Yes, that's right. Welcome to my wonderful bathroom. One issue with the bathroom: the hand dryer doesn't work, and it's obviously sometimes useful to have some hand towels. And so, in about 15 seconds flat, we need to put this up on the wall and get some hand towels inside of it. Oh no, I can't get it open again. Let me get a sword. That would make a lot more sense. Thank you, Jamie. It's not working. Oh. We got ourselves an issue.
You thought making the katana was hard.
Yeah, I know. Try installing a lavatory paper dispenser. Maybe you've got to do it from the inside of the roll. Oh, I think that's it. Is this the secret to how lavatory paper towel roll dispensers work? We have done it! And I don't have to embarrass myself by asking YouTube commenters how to make one of these work. Great work, Jamie. Let's go back to making a katana. Holy moly, it has been another long day. Thank you so much for joining me. The sword now is at 240 grit. Tomorrow we're going to continue the hand sanding and then start working on the next parts for the sword. So make sure, if you're new to the channel, you hit subscribe and you follow along with this project and all the projects that we're going to have coming up in the future. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow on the next